Hello, welcome to Exotic Gardening UK, Yorkshire Weekly, and in this week's video we're going to do an update on the seeds that I sowed just 3 weeks ago. So this is an overview of what the main bench with all the seedlings will look like. I've had to clear out a lot of plants to be able to put all these on this bench. So it's a bit of a juggling mission in early April. Basically this had loads of aeoniums and other tenderish plants on that I've had to sort of move out of the greenhouse. I've been lucky enough to do that because the nights aren't too cold and it's been pretty mild in the daytime, so I've taken a lot of these plants out, sort of harden them off over the last week or so. So it enables me to put all these seedlings, these seed trays, up in maximum light. So let's have a closer look at these seedlings. And like I said, it's been exactly 3 weeks since I sowed the majority of these, although some I have sowed over the last week. So I'll go through them one by one. So here we have some Echium seedlings. I've got some the regular Echium Pinina and also a white one called White Steeple, and as you can see they've both germinated pretty well, so I've got a few seedlings on each side, and these are actually big enough now to be pricked out into their own individual modules. So I will be doing that over the next few days because Echiums don't like to be sort of manhandled too much. They don't like to be the roots exposed to the air for too long, so you need to do this when they're small or sow them directly in the ground where they're not going to be disturbed. And then next to that I have got some seedlings here, and these are Selenium, and I'll just put it on the sides. This is Selenum quitense, and these have all come up. I think there's 4 or 5 seeds and we've got 4 there, so they've come up nicely in the compost and they'll be pricked out into their own pots very soon as well. And if you remember, I've used a new compost for me this year on the whole. It's a coir based compost. I'll put a link in the description below, and overall it's been pretty good. There's been a few seeds that have not done well, but that's not because of the compost. They've just slow germinators, and it's only been 3 weeks. You can see there's 2 seed trays here. The one on the left is Cleome, which is a spider plant, spider flowers, and these have germinated pretty well. So I did obviously broadcast these evenly over the seed tray, and obviously I've watered them a few times, and some of the seedlings have been washed more to this side, but they've come up fine. They're not the quickest of germinators, so I expect more will come up over the next few weeks as well. And again, these, now they've got the first mature leaves, will be transplanted in their own pots. Here we've got 4 lots of aeoniums, and I think we don't have any of those. Oh no, we do have one. We have one tiny seedling, very small, just at the end of my finger there. I don't think we can get in and focus on that. There we go, just a little green dot. Trust me, that is an aeonium seedling. And we'll see if any more come up over the next few weeks. We've got a seedling here of another Selenium that you can see on screen, and we've got none of these Seleniums, Autopurpureum. Hopefully they'll germinate soon. Another tray here of the spider flowers, again pretty good germination on those. And then more recently, in the last week, I have basically sowed some more seeds, and these are the tobacco plants, and these have germinated like crest. They've really come up well, and I've run out of my preferred compost that's in the description below, and this one is just a general potting compost. They're not ideal for seedlings, but as you can see they've come up really well, and these need thinning out very soon as well. So I've got lots of plants there. Here we've got a tray. I've just sown these. These are cannas, so loads and loads of canna seeds. So I've basically put loads in here. and these have only been in about 5 days after being soaking for a few days, so I expect they'll come up in the next week or so. Here we have some nicely spaced zinnia seedlings. As you can see, I did a decent job of actually keeping these quite spread apart, and these have just germinated. These were sown 4 days ago, and as you see, they've already come up. These are on no bottom heat, I should say. This tray here is just on the bench. You might notice the slug pellets. I don't use slug pellets in the garden, but I do use them in the greenhouse because we do get slugs in here, but we don't get hedgehogs or other animals coming in here, so the slugs that live in here hopefully will die in here as well and don't go out in the general population. This is another tray of zinnias, and these have come up really well, as you can see all over there. Some more aeoniums which haven't germinated yet in this one. Here we've got some more zinnias as well. Again, they've germinated quite well, not as well as these, but even though they're the same ones, they've just happened. The only difference you can see is the vermiculite. They're in vermiculite. They've all germinated really well, all surface sown, and these in just the compost with no vermiculite have germinated but not quite as quickly. There's a couple more trays there. The cigar plant in the back here, Coffea, they've germinated well, and I'll be pricking those out very soon as well. Move along, got some cannas that I did sow 3 weeks ago, so they are ahead of the tray over there, and you can see they've germinated well, but the slugs have had a good go at these. So there's 2, I think there's 3 or 4 seeds in there, and 2 have come up, and again we've got 2 here as well, but again there was 3 or 4, but the slugs have got a couple of them, so they're doing well. Here is a tray, and I don't know what they are until they germinate because I've not labelled this tray, but as soon as they germinate I'll know what they are. There is a heat mat, I'll show you. There's a reptile heat mat here, and that is just on, I think that's about a 20 watt one, and that's allowing some seedlings to come and germinate. So I think we've got a couple of, yeah, you can see over there, a couple of Spanish flag seedlings just germinating. I expect the rest will germinate in the next 3 or 4 days. They're in individual modules, so they won't need transplanting for a while yet. They'll probably get into one larger size pot, probably this size or slightly larger, and then they'll be planted out sort of the end of May. So let's look down onto the heated bench down here, or the heated ground. So this is on a thermostat kept at about 20 degrees, and again we're getting a poor showing on the aeoniums, but we have got some other things germinating here. We have got some silk vine. They've all germinated. Got 3 pots of that, and they've all germinated nicely. Oh, I've noticed we've got 1 aeonium, so aeoniums don't seem to be wanting to germinate well this year. I've got 1 aeonium there. I've just watered these so they do look quite wet, but they dry out very, very quickly on this heat bench. So they're the seedlings in this area. I said I've taken most aeoniums outside. I have, but I've still got a few left in here that I need to move when I need to make space for seedlings. Other things that are growing in the greenhouse, I've just potted up a few cannas that were from rhizomes. So we've got some Cleopatra cannas down here, and they're just poking their heads up, so they've started sprouting over the last 5 or 6 days. Up here we have more zinnias, so I've got plenty of zinnia plants this year for that colour, annual colour. Another tray there. We've got something else in here as well. which I can't remember what that one is, but it will come to me. Hopefully I've labelled it somewhere and I'll find out what that one is. But it's definitely one seedling's very happy and germinated, but nothing else yet in that tray. Here we have something else. This is Cosmos, and again these were sown 4 or 5 days ago, and they've germinated nicely. No additional heat, that's just on, it's on the shady side of the greenhouse to be honest, but it's been pretty warm the last week. This greenhouse has been getting up to about 20 degrees or so, maybe a bit higher in the height of the afternoon when the sun's been shining. But the greenhouse isn't in full sun, so it's not getting crazy temperatures like 30-40 degrees that a lot of greenhouses will be getting to now because of the sun. You probably can hear there is a low-flying aircraft going over the greenhouse. So what else? This is the heated propagator, and in here, this is where I started off quite a few of the seedlings that have moved over down to there. But in here we have the ricinus that I've literally sowed with the zinnias 4 or 5 days ago into individual modules, and as we can see we've already got them germinating. We've got 3 types down here, and if I look around I can see there's ones poking their heads out in all the different trays. So all 3 types are germinating. So we've got 2 trays here, and we've got a 3rd tray down there. In the middle, more aeoniums which aren't germinating particularly well, and there should be some Scheffler seeds as well in one of these pots, so we'll see when they come up. So that's all the seedlings that I've sowed this year, so lots and lots, but seem to be doing pretty well overall. Bit of variation. Aeoniums and Solanums are not doing too well, but everything else has germinated pretty quickly. And as long as I continue to look after these and prick these out, transplant them into their own pots, there should be nice sturdy plants for when they're planted out in middle to end of May and into early June. So that's another, what are we, 4 to 6 weeks away before a lot of these will be planted out. So they've got plenty of growing to do, but now the days are long. It's warmer temperatures, and we should see a huge step in the increase of growth rates of these plants now that they've all got the nice warmer temperatures and they've got their green leaves photosynthesizing. So I'll do another update in a few weeks time when I've pricked these out and we can see how these seedlings look in this compost, and we'll talk about possibly feeding these as well. Thank you for watching this edition of Exotic Gardening UK. Join me next week. We'll be doing more in the garden.